Boom, we are alive, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for making it. Today's TO Talks is later evening than normal because I fell asleep last night. But we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. We'll keep it simple. We're also going to take a quick look at SUI and Solana. It's been nice to see a bunch of the market pick up on its accumulation boxes that we've been sharing in the private Discord. So we're just going to take a look at some of those and how those evolved for the rest of the day here. We'll keep it brief and short as well. So here is Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart. As you can see, we have moved into what I believe is a reaccumulation after decline, first showing what appears to be distribution, then moving into what appears to me to be just reaccumulation after decline. I don't think we're entering full-scale distribution for Bitcoin quite yet. There's just too many things leading me to believe that that's not the case. We went over that in some of our previous videos, liquidity increasing, the amount of short-term holders and compared to long-term holders. There's a bunch of small things going on, but I think what's about to happen is, again, just a small reaccumulation after decline usually does something like this and then just starts its breakout move into the $150,000 range. So super simple. There's not a whole lot extra that's going on there. If we take a little bit closer of a look, the RSI is oversold. The stochastic RSI is down near the bottom on the 4-hour. So we could actually see a breakout here, although I don't think that that's the case for now. We're still seeing a fair amount of selling pressure come down into this kind of line here, and after this kind of rising channel too. So I suspect that we go down, but right now the 4-hour on the stochastic RSI is actually pointing up. And the MACD looks like it could be crossing over here too. So I'm not going to get too picky in either direction. But again, what I think is going to happen is we see something like this over the next, let's say, 60 to 90 days. And then we just go into full breakout kind of beast mode. Taking a quick look at SUI, this has been really fun. Again, if you follow the Wyckoff methodology, it's fairly simple. We're looking for these horizontal trading ranges, which we've shared this in the private group. We've seen a nice breakout into its SOS phase. I suspect we see some type of backup here that kind of matches the equivalent. These actually, both SUI and Solana, look like inverse head and shoulders accumulation rate, well, it depends. Generally, I prefer much longer term accumulations to make really big bets on, but this to me looks like it's going to end up being an inverse head and shoulders on this style of pattern. Again, it's just been a very short accumulation range. Very abrupt breakout for SUI as well the other day, almost 30% since it's kind of really tiny in the range box, 23, 24, 25%, big moves. Usually we see some type of retracement. The backup phase, I think, is going to make the right kind of arm probably somewhat equivalent to these previous stepping stone. There's a lot of volatility in SUI, so we could see even something like that does this, basically matches the same style that we took to the downside, taking back out on the upside. Now, how much higher do we go? Do we keep going into new all-time highs? I think that's the case, but it's too early to say yet. When the accumulation range is really short-term like this, I try not to make too long-term of initiations on my thought process, but as you can see here, we've pushed right back into the top of the previous reaccumulation range, which is what started this bull market, right? Started to be excited, went super long on everything. Most of my stop losses hit around here. But this little reaccumulation box that we've just produced now, it's not enough long-term data for me to get super excited. But that doesn't mean that's not what's about to happen, that we're not about to do something like this, where we break out and continue into the at least previous highs for SUI, especially if Bitcoin starts leading the charge to that $150,000 area. Taking a look at Solana on the let's click into the 4-hour. I think actually I'm seeing something very similar here with Solana. Currently I've charted its backup range. Here is the range that took us into that backup. Both of these appear to be really strong. This to me again looks very similar to a head and shoulders on the inverse side of things. So we could see a quick spike down to maybe even as low as 130 for Solana. I'm not making any big bets yet, although I did have a position there. I'm out of that for the moment. I'm just waiting to see how this right shoulder goes to make sure. So Very exciting. Just a quick last look at the S&P 500. Again, we've hit the resistance of the 200 simple day moving average in the green here. The stochastic RSI is oversold. The RSI looks like it wants to come back down and retest. I suspect that's what we're going to do. We'll probably see a slightly lower low, but if the RSI is higher here, we could be looking at returning to previous all-time highs here and maybe even forming a top of the range channel before moving farther. So I suspect that's what's going to happen. Let's leave that drawn in there, kind of roughly speaking for now. I think that we're going to see a new parallel channel form here for the S&P 500, something like this, where we're using that previous high that we had back in July 2024 before its breakdown, before we really decipher what's kind of going on in the market here for a longer term sentiment. So I suspect we've got kind of 90 days of around up and sideways. Some of the assets might move significantly more in that time frame, as we've seen with SUI here, or even with Solana, big moves into the box and outside of the box that they were just in. So something to keep an eye on. Lots of fun in the market nonetheless. I just want to keep it short and update you guys because, like I said, I'm promising to try to do Tuesday and Thursday every day, just these brief market interludes to take a deep dive into what's going on. Everything looks great. A little, like I said, just to re-clarify, I haven't changed this thesis at all. It's just that, remember, we are very high, and at any moment, there could be a switch, but nonetheless, I still think we're going to 150K. The 250K target is maybe off the table in this particular movement, but again, my long-term sentiment is that we go to millions of dollars of Bitcoin. There's a total collapse in confidence of all of the markets, and the dollar is worthless given enough time in this story. So keep that in mind, that although we're looking at short-term and intermediary thought processes, my long-term process, I have not changed for almost 7-8 years now. Bitcoin is going to millions of dollars because governments are going to continue to print, they're going to continue to debase their currencies, and they're going to continue to debase their confidence in everybody's experience here. So it's something important to keep in mind. I think there will be a day where we have lost complete faith and trust in what the governments have been telling us, and around the world that will send shockwaves through what we know as the dollars. Anyways, Teal with the Arcane Bear, we're signing off for the rest of the day. We'll see you guys again. Sorry this one came out so late. I know you probably prefer to have it with coffee, but hey, hope you can catch it before you go to sleep.